Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 198, entitled Paper Mario Returns. We're going to be talking a lot about Paper Mario tonight. We're also going to be talking about the Wholesome Direct. We're going to be talking about the new Game Plus Expo, Lego Super Mario stuff, Smash Brothers Tournament, Xenoblade Chronicles, NES and SNES updates, Super Nintendo World. We got a lot to talk about tonight. My name's Steve, and I need people here to talk about this with me. Thankfully, I've got Barry. Hey, Barry. How's it going?
Hey. Always a pleasure.
And also have Greg. Hey, Greg.
Hi, everyone. Great to be back.
Cool. So, yeah, and thanks to all you guys that are in the chat room joining us. Feel free to toss your thoughts about any of the news discussion that goes on tonight that you want to, throw in your thoughts about anything that we discuss. We would love to see what you guys think about this. If you're watching after the fact, feel free to just throw that down in the comments. We would love to hear your thoughts. And if you are listening to this on the podcast form, the audio only form of this show, make sure that you also leave us a positive comment or a positive review. That'd be very helpful. Share this with other Nintendo fans. We'd love for you to do that. Follow us on social media. We're pretty much on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at NintendoFuse, and also be sure to join our Discord because we love talking with you guys between the shows. So before we get started with the news, let's talk about what we've been playing because it's always fun to hear what you guys have been doing between shows. So Greg, let's start with you. What have you been up to over the last couple weeks?
Pretty much same old. Fire Emblem Heroes, continue logging in daily and ranking pretty highly within the top 5,000 people playing the game and a lot of the game modes. And then along with that, I still am chugging away at Animal Crossing. It's just been it's got a whole grip around our family. I've been more competing with my wife for playing on the Switch now because it's like, oh, let's watch a movie and I want to fix up our island some more, and it's like, oh, well, I don't get to play Animal Crossing, and I don't get to try out another game. Instead, it's like getting a chance to let her enjoy it. So, yeah. So
we've been time to get another Switch.
Nice. That's the only reason why I haven't really pushed for my wife to actually start playing because I think she'll enjoy it, but I haven't fully pushed because I also know that she may steal my Switch, and then there it goes.
Come on, guys, you gotta be smart. Get your wife.
Don't you have a
Switch.
light too?
I do, but they're both logged into my account. I guess I could switch the other one, but the problem is finding one nowadays. Unless I want to pay $1,000 per Switch, it's kind of impossible to find one.
You know
nowadays.
what? That's a small price to pay to be able to play your other games, right?
Yeah.
And to keep your wife happy. I mean, come on, you can't put a price on that.
That's true. Even $1,000.
Well, I think she's happier if I'm not playing. She's playing. And then she's like, oh, we don't need to buy another system just for an extra, because that's how she originally started. She was like, oh, do I get my own island? I'm like, no. I'm like, that's one of the most controversial things. It's like, we all have to share the island. And then, now, of course, now she's on to 2 other islands where it's like, no, you need a Nintendo Online account. It's like, really? It's like, how is this super family friendly? Force multiple products on the family and multiple copies of the same game, and you have to buy multiple online packages. What kind of?
Well, there is the Family Pass, and that I think goes up to 10 people on the Family Pass. So,
oh yeah, that's Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, that's not bad at all for a full year, but it's still a full second console and a second copy of the game. That seems kind of excessive.
Yeah, all about the profit margin.
Has your daughter started clamoring for it herself too? And you're gonna have to get 3 of them at that point.
Not really her own. Has a lot more fun just loading up her own character, and she doesn't mind that she just walks around. Her house was formerly in with all the villager residents, and she had a lot of fun over there. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I want to move my house closer to yours, Daddy. But then she ended up moving back to the main part of the island by the resident services building. So my wife built her a nice fancy waterfall because she liked my house by the waterfalls, and so nice. Terraforming has been a lot of fun. And then there's also a point where we have to spend a good 30 minutes kind of undoing the stuff that she does, because she just likes to, like, oh, I'm just gonna carve a path right through this river, and like, oh, the river looked really good. Like, I'm gonna start building a mountain right here in the middle of the road, and then like, oh, now I gotta take down the mountain, add back the road. Like, it's almost like we gotta. It's too much power with the terraforming for a 5-year-old child.
You need the dodo code for her. She'll be able to
You
do
are
everything
brave.
and then turn it. It goes away as soon as she turns it off.
I would have told her flat out, this is an adults only thing, and that's only unlocked for adults. Mommy and daddy only.
Well, now we're like, don't touch this area because this area is like all done. So it's like, sooner than later, it's gonna be like, the whole island is in a good state. You don't need to do it. Like when she was playing today, I was like, no water shovel, no cliff shovel. Like, you could make roads. It's a lot easier to fix, but
Nice.
You're still brave to let her do that.
erasing mountains,
This
adding
flower
new
bed,
mountains.
it's a road right through it.
Jakester, or Greg, Jakester's asking where your tinfoil hat is.
It's in the kitchen with all the other foil.
That's right, the foil.
You
Nice.
didn't come prepared.
I was trying to watch the Wholesome Direct, to be honest. I did see his comment in Discord, and I was like, "Oh shoot! I really should like grab some sheets and make a cool hat to wear for when I talk about Paper Mario later." But
Next time.
being
yeah,
a little more prepared
that's
for
true.
the direct discussion was a little bit more important on my list.
Yeah. Well, it's coming out July 17th, so before long, at least, by the time it launches, you get your hat ready. So yeah, was that pretty much it?
Yeah, I haven't really had time to load up any other games because my wife's been logging like 3 hours like in the evening, like just playing Animal Crossing, and I'm more stuck to like my phone or something. I've highly debated buying New Leaf. It's come to that. Like, get some use out of the 3DS, and like I can
Nice.
just start playing like New Leaf or something.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're fully in the Animal Crossing world now. Like, even considering going back and buying an old game, that's a pretty big win for Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you
Barry
should
did get to see the island too, so
Yes.
he was like my first real visitor to the island. So
I got the grand tour.
Nice. Barry, what have you been up to?
A lot of games since the last podcast. I did Stone, which is a digital only title. It's a weird stoner noir game that virtually plays itself, and you're done with it in about an hour. It's an interesting game. I did that one for the playcast. I went back and replayed Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon, a second playthrough on Nightmare for the playcast, which was a lot of fun. I forgot how much I liked that game. I'm actually doing a little bit now of Ritual of the Night. There's a new DLC that came out for Zangetsu, so I've been doing that for the playcast. Outside of that, Animal Crossing has been a constant in my Switch. In fact, more times than not, I'm pulled back into it throughout the day, from trading DIYs to furniture to cataloging, and it's just never ending. Even though my island is virtually done, I'm still, finding new things. Oh, I can use this space here. I could use this space here. Or my island has now become like a place for all my wives, like flowers that she doesn't want. She's like, oh, these are all, hybrids that I don't really have room for. Pick them up and put them on your island. Just throw them over here. Okay. So that's what my island is kind of become. I've also been doing Trials of Mana. I've been really trying to finish that game this week before Xenoblade comes out, and I'm in Chapter 6. So Chapter 6 is the last chapter. There's a seventh chapter, which is the epilogue and like end game stuff. So I don't know how much I'm going to tackle that, but I'm happy with my progress, although I'm only able to play short little bits at a time before it's like, new villager crafting, gotta pop out the game and switch over, and there we go. We did a under $1 challenge for the playcast, so I did do that last week, and I'm doing that again this week. And I don't have this week's game picked yet, but last week I played Just Glide, which was a whopping 11 cents, and I highly recommend that you do not touch that game. That is not worth 11 cents. It is a really terrible Flappy Bird style paper airplane game. Do not touch that game.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that, Final Fantasy 14, of course. And Dragalia Lost just had a big update, so I've been playing that, and Mario Kart Tour. And I haven't touched Pokemon Go in a long time, and I'm so happy to be done with that game because of this quarantine. But yeah, Jakester's now like, oh, you got to go start Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Like, no, Xenoblade's coming out. I got all these other games on my plate. I'm doing like 5 games a day, and I can't do anymore right now.
Fire Emblem's a little bit higher, more priority than Xenoblade, so get out.
Get out of
here. I'll side with Jakester on that.
No, Jakester will side with me. Get out of here.
We're going to have some fun conversation around that later. It's specifically Xenoblade. But Jakester did say he finished his first 3 Houses playthrough. Played some more Ori as well. And be sure to let us know what you guys have been playing in the chat. We'd love to know what you guys have been playing. I've been playing Rocket League and Animal Crossing pretty much exclusively over the last couple weeks, except for Barry and I did get a chance to play Save Your Nuts finally. I forgot about that. And we recorded our first time playing through it. So if you haven't checked that out on our channel, be sure to do that. It's a blast, just kind of watching us beat up on each other and go after these little acorns and. Yeah, and since then, the developers have actually reached back out to us and said that a couple of things that we pointed out they're going to be patching or fixing in a future update, which is pretty cool. And then also let us know some of the things that we just didn't naturally catch. And so like unlocking things wasn't incredibly clear, but as you play through it with a single player, you actually unlock things. And also it seems like the areas that we thought were like, why is it still saying that that's the new level or whatever that we haven't played yet? It's because we didn't win in that level yet. So that's what you got to do. I guess you got to win in each of them to kind of progress through and stuff. So who knows? Maybe we'll spend some more time with it and try to unlock some of the other modes at some point. Because I'm looking forward to some of those modes. I think the basketball one looks kind of cool because you have to shoot them up instead of just take them to your doghouse or whatever. There's a bunch of other modes on there that I'm looking forward to eventually playing. So, but yeah, that was cool for the developers kind of reach out and say there are some updates coming and some just quality of life fixes and stuff that I think will make that even more something that people should get. And then also, this is not a game, but a product that I ended up ordering, the Genki Bluetooth adapter. It is phenomenal. I don't know if you guys have it or not, but I
have it.
It's been out for a while, but I finally just like went down and got it, and it's, oh my gosh, it's so good. And the latency is so low, like I was not expecting it for Bluetooth, and yeah, very, very highly recommend that if you're tired of plugging in your headset, you can play with Bluetooth headset with the Genki adapter. Let's see. Looks like we got some more people talking about what they're playing in the chat. Chargers Fan for Life says they've been playing the original Paper Mario on Chapter 7 right now and Dragon Quest 11 on Switch. So that's awesome. Kind of getting ready for Paper Mario The Origami King, I guess, which we'll go into and talk about now. So out of nowhere, we have Paper Mario news. Yeah, I don't know if you guys, none of us, I think, saw this coming. But Paper Mario, the Origami King, is coming to Switch on July 17th. So not too far away. We get to, I guess, possibly, depending on your thoughts about this game, enjoy another Paper Mario game. It's the trailer definitely makes it seem like the story is very, it's intriguing, I guess, and that's right, I wrote about it in our article too. But as you watch it, you'll see like Princess Peach is almost acting as an enemy, and so it seems like this Origami King, King Ollie, claims to be the ruler of Origami Kingdom and has hatched a devious plot that endangers everything Mario holds dear. It looks pretty dangerous on paper, so someone who's a cut above the rest is needed to save the day. And so, yeah, basically kind of followed that story along. But in for terms of new stuff, the press release also talks about how there's a new range of tools that Mario has at his disposal to help secure victory. One of Mario's new abilities is called the Thousand-Fold Arms, allowing you to interact with the landscape by stretching it out and pulling it, peeling it, and revealing new locations, helping you solve puzzles and uncover unexpected prizes. So yeah, along the way, similar to other Paper Mario games, you're gonna enlist several different allies and other people along characters along the way, and there also introduces this new ring-based battle system that lets you flex your puzzle-solving skills to line up scattered enemies and maximize damage along the way. So yeah, Paper Mario, the Origami King. Greg, I'm going to go to you first because I know I think you have some pretty strong feelings about Paper Mario, and I do not. I have very, very little experience with Paper Mario. I think the Paper Mario game that I played the most was Super Paper Mario, which was one of the biggest departures from the whole series, as I hear. And so I enjoyed it because it was more of a platformer. But yeah, Greg, why are people up in arms about Paper Mario: The Origami King?
Well, to be honest with you, it's really more because of the last two games have really kind of soured the franchise overall. So like Sticker Star and Color Splash were both not up to par games of the original games. They most shrouded upon one is 1,000-Year-Old Door. Some people tell you it's overrated. Other people tell you it's the best game in the entire series. That's actually the only Paper Mario game I haven't played. I have played the N64 one. I got pretty close to actually beating it, and then I'd lost my save data on Wii or Wii U, whatever virtual console I had it on. But the main thing is, it's like they're not really learning from Sticker Star and Color Splash. Like they kind of made the battles pretty much obsolete, and they turned it into like this unnecessary like mini game, and then you don't even get any reward for completing it. Like they completely removed the XP system, so you don't level up, you don't really get really stronger. It's just you could pretty much beat the entire game just avoiding most of the common battles and just doing the boss battles, because that's how meaningless they are. So I did beat Sticker Star. I didn't really like it a lot. I did get pretty decently far into Color Splash, but didn't really finish that one either. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward for them to turn it around to be much better than those.
Nice. Barry, do you agree with Greg's assessment, or are you excited about this one?
I'm excited about this one. I know a lot of people didn't like Sticker Star or Color Splash. I did not play Color Splash. I bought it. I planned on playing it, but I didn't. I did play Sticker Star, and I didn't have the hate for it that other people did, but I totally understand the criticisms. I just found it more of like a light-hearted Paper Mario. Obviously, the original and Thousand-Year Door are the staples of what people expect. I mean, the original was really Mario RPG 2 in development, and it was just a phenomenal game. Super Paper Mario, I had a lot of fun with. I loved what they did using the paper and the looking from the 2D perspective to looking at the 3D and using that to get behind objects. And I just thought that was really cool. But yeah, it was a departure. This looks like it's more returning to form, so to speak. Even though some people will point out that it's really only 50% or 40% of the Paper Mario games are the quote-unquote form. But it looks like we're going to add helpers again, and battles are going to be have a point to them. I mean, there's no point in grinding or fighting RPG battles if you're not going to get something for it. You're just going to wait. And especially the thing that sucked about Sticker Star, and I believe Color Splash used this too, was that you had a resource system. So not only were battles in like Sticker Star pointless because you didn't get experience, but you also wasted your stickers on these battles. And once you wasted them, they were gone. You had to get more. So it was just a constant, I need to use jump on these, so now I have to waste my jump stickers. And I only have 3 of them right now, and I was saving them for the boss. So it's one of those things where I hope they get rid of that whole limited resource things. It's one of the reasons I hated Final Fantasy VIII. Or just liked it the least because of the whole draw system. If I want to cast fire, I want to be able to cast fire unlimited as long as my MP allows me. I don't want to have another resource management.
Mm.
MP is already a resource in the game. And in Paper Mario, I think it was flower points or whatever. Same thing. Like, if you already have one resource, don't add a second resource on top of it.
Mm.
But I do have high hopes for this. When this launched, the trailer launched, it pretty much, my first thought wasn't, oh my god, a new Paper Mario, oh my god, those rumors are right, oh my god, I can't wait to see this. It was, this pretty much confirms there is no more June Direct, and that there is no more E3 Direct. And while this is going to be exciting to watch, this means June is going to be that much less exciting of a month.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, a game like this is definitely something you'd think they would show off for sure at something that big. Greg, of the new elements and everything that they talk about in this game, do those excite you, or do you think they may just be a gimmick? What do you think about the new elements?
I don't know, like that 1,000 hand thing kind of seems like it's like the latest gimmick. Like, I think that started with Super Paper Mario on Wii. I mean, I played that one fully, and I absolutely loved that one. I also enjoyed the platforming and everything with that one as well, along with the story. And that's also like when the game actually kind of meant something and had like decent all-around systems. But then it just seems like they're just trying to me, it feels like they just kind of add in like a gimmick like that. Like, first it was stickers, and then it was paint, and now it's like kind of like tearing again. So it's kind of similar in nature, that it's just kind of something to do with like a paper craft, and they just kind of twist it around to make it a little bit different for the story. I mean, I'm pretty content. Like, I mean, that shouldn't be too bad to deal with. I'm mostly more concerned with the battle system, because in the trailer they did show you only so many rotations of the rings, and there's gonna be enemies and like boss battles that like force you to like turn it, and then it won't quite turn all the way, and then you'll have to waste another turn to do that, or something like that, or they'll just move to another ring in another spot and you have to re-rotate it back over. I mean, it just kind of seems like it's going to be unnecessary time, like padding onto the battles.
Yeah.
Just like taking a card, now I got to paint the card, now I got to play the card, or I mean, it just makes it unnecessarily longer battle sequence. I don't think it needs to be as long as they're trying to make it out to be.
Yeah, makes sense. Jakester says that he's intrigued at least, but he just wants he just wants your tinfoil hat, Greg. But he says with Color Splash, even if you waste cards, they just throw cards back at you. The same with money, so you can buy unlimited fire flowers. Chariot Goblin says that Super Paper Mario always looked cool with the changing perspective. It's one of those games that he just missed somehow back in the day. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. There's actually an indie game coming out really soon. I forget the name of it, but it is also using that 2D and 3D change of perspectives. Blanking on the name of it, but I just got the press release from it just the other day. So yeah, it's something that I don't think a lot of platformers are using. So, but I also do know that a lot of people were upset with Super Paper Mario because it was such a departure from that. Barry, is there any way that Paper Mario will go back to what they did in the beginning? Like, is there any chance that they would ever go back to that standard RPG thing, especially now that the whole the Mario and Luigi franchise seems to be dead?
I don't know necessarily that the Mario and Luigi is dead. Obviously, the developers aren't doing so hot right now, but I do think that that there is a chance. The problem is not whether it will go back, it's whether Nintendo will allow it to go back. What I mean by that is Nintendo, for the most part, the way they do their game development is they don't like to make a game unless they can have some kind of unique hook that is exclusive pretty much to that game. And that's the main reason we haven't had new F-Zero, is because Miyamoto pretty much said there's nothing we could think of that would be completely new to do, therefore we're just not going to give you the same game with more tracks, which is what people are asking for. They don't listen to the fans, especially Nintendo of America. They don't listen. They do things to their own beat. So could we have a classic style Paper Mario? Absolutely. it's they did it twice. They obviously could do it again. It's if they want to, and as long as the people in charge feel that they won't do a new game unless there's some kind of brand new hook, then we're not getting that. And that's what they try with Sticker Star and Color Splash, and all those things are neat little gimmicks. I mean, they're all neat little paper motif gimmicks, and I get it. The ideas were sound, the execution failed, in my opinion, and in many others. So it really, really depends on what they want to do. So this, it's almost a double-edged sword, because a lot of times Nintendo will give us things before we realize we want those things. It's so funny because, oh my God, that's such a genius idea. How could we not think about that? And they'll come up with it. They'll just say, boom, here it is, or they'll perfect it. And that's, I think, why everyone loves Nintendo. But that's not to say they're without their faults. And this, of course, would be a huge one. So I would love to see a return to form, so to speak, Paper Mario. I think a lot of people would. It's really in Nintendo's hands, because I think if you had every single person on the planet that did not work at Nintendo pretty much say, yes, this is what we want, and put down the money, and right there and then, every single person, 7 billion plus people, put down $60 right in front of Nintendo. We are buying the game. A crap ton of money. Nintendo, knowing how they are, would probably say, people don't want this. They want something like Sticker Star. And that's exactly the way they work. Yeah. They don't see the obvious in front of them. They're looking in a fourth dimension or a fifth dimension, and we just can't perceive what they see.
Yeah.
I do recall a lot of the stuff around Sticker Star was like feedback they got from Super Paper Mario. There was like a survey on Club Nintendo or something, and there was like, oh, did you really like the story, or did you really like this part about the game, or like being able to do this or that? And then, like, I know people were, I think, reportedly said they didn't really like the RPG elements, and that's kind of why they moved away from like leveling and XP and equipment and that kind of stuff. And then I think they even kind of said the uninteresting story or something, so they even like toned that down a little bit and made it more basic, just like with Bowser. And like that's what I vaguely remember from like that time, like whatever, like 15 years ago or whatever that was.
Interesting.
Then they're listening to the wrong people.
I know.
It's true. There's a very vocal portion of gamers that really want a standard RPG again. Greg, would you want Paper Mario to take that Mario RPG thing, or would you rather them just go back to the standard Mario RPG, even remake it for modern console?
See, I was always a larger fan of the Mario and Luigi series, and then they used that as an excuse to take those elements out of Paper Mario. But now they're not even making new Mario and Luigi games, so I would love for them to get those elements back into Paper Mario, whether it's like you have the helpers in the battle and they can help attack and defeat enemies, and I really want to just be like earn XP and like feel like you're like leveling up, and like battles have like a reason to like actually happen, not just like, oh shoot, I have to spend another 5 minutes doing all these gimmicks and they're just gonna throw a few coins at me that I don't even need. Like because even in Color Splash, I was just trying to like run away from any of the battles that I could, like not even initiate them if I could, and then like run around them or have them like chase me away. And it was more fun trying to do that and sit through another battle and have to paint the card and swipe it on. It was like
Nice. So the question remains is, will you guys be picking up Paper Mario: The Origami King? Other than for your collection, Barry, would you be picking it up normally?
Yes, normally I would be. Like I said, I still picked up Color Splash before I went for the Wii U set. I had full intentions to play it. I just didn't get around to it. So I have full intentions to play this. Obviously, this is a weird year, so in July, I'm probably going to have some time. Although it's interesting because Sony's dropping one of their biggest games this year the same day, I believe. So it's going to be an interesting a battle there in terms of sales. But yeah, I do intend to play it. Whether or not I get around to it is another story, but I have full intentions to play it.
Nice. Greg, you can be getting it?
Probably, unfortunately, just to
Unfortunately.
see if they've started like learn from their days. I
You
do
know-
like the Paper Brand. I've always applauded their sense of humor in those games. That's like always like to the next level. Like they still manage to get like new paper puns and like cardboard jokes and everything like that. Like all those little like off the wall things, I absolutely love the games for. Like that's been present since like Super Paper Mario. You could still see it in Sticker Star and Colored Splash, and those were easily my favorite element of both of those two previous entries. So
So does that mean you'll be getting this one physically? If you don't like it, then you could at least sell it back, right?
yeah, it's quite possible. It also determines on which stores are open at that point in time. It looks like my
Online.
state will be reopened by that point for the most part, but we'll see.
BestBuy.com ships right to your house.
Walmart.com, you can save $10. Maybe. Actually, I don't know online, but you do in the store. I don't know. Walmarts are open around here. It's like the only store. All right. Well, I will not be getting it because I don't get those games. I'm pretty sure even when I played Super Paper Mario, I rented it back when you could still do that. Like, even Redbox did away with video game rentals. That's crazy. But surprisingly, GameFly is still around. So there you go. I guess you can still rent that way. Let's move on to another event. There was a Direct recently. I don't know if you guys saw that. There was a Direct. Oh, no, not a Nintendo Direct. No, sorry, I got your hopes up. It was a Wholesome Direct. This is by Wholesome Games, a great company that they're a publishing company, right? They take the, as far as I know, I think they're the publishers. So they take a lot of these indie developers that are amazing, like it says, wholesome games that really tug on your heartstrings. They're really clean. They're really family friendly. They're just great wholesome games. And then they put them out there. So they had a Wholesome Direct today, and yeah, they showed off over 50 games, I believe, and they're all listed on their website. So if you don't want to actually go through and watch the entire Direct, you can also just go to their website and check out all the different games that they have listed. I mean, Button City, Errand Boy, Ooblets, Kind Words, the list goes on and on. I'm just going to keep scrolling these on my screen or on the screen here while you guys talk about it. But yeah, there's a lot of different games. They all have a similar kind of approach, or not all of them. I felt like a lot of them had a similar sort of art style as well. A lot of them are from the same developers too, but they're pretty much almost there. A lot of them are coming out this year. A lot of them are coming out 2021. Most of them, we don't know if they're going to come to Switch or not. So there's not a whole lot we want to dive into directly. There was only one game that was specifically announced for Switch. But I'd love to just get you guys' general thoughts about the Wholesome Direct and what you thought. So, Greg, what do you think about the Wholesome Direct?
I almost thought it was a little bit on the boring side. Do like this, like have the developers talk about their games, but like I don't know, I wasn't really following like their discussion as much like as I would have liked. So it was just kind of like trying to see the new trailers and just try to see the games, and like some stuff was just like the trailers were just like almost like a title loading screen, and like you couldn't even really see gameplay. So it's like, how am I supposed to really say I'm excited for this game? I don't even know much about it. So overall, I felt like it could have been a little bit better, and they kept like mentioning like, oh, here's another wholesome game from this wholesome developer. Like they were like really like throwing that word in like every sentence that they spoke too. So
yeah, Greg, Barry, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell that they were mimicking Nintendo Direct with all their title cards and just the way they were presenting it. And I liked it. I did feel it was a little on the boring side, and I think that stemmed from a number of factors. One, the length. It was a long Direct, like almost 40 minutes. Two, there's virtually no attachment to any of these franchises. You know, if they said a 40-minute Nintendo Direct, everyone's all excited,
right?
Because usually it's a franchise we we know and we love and we're waiting for the next installment, or it's a game we're already excited for. And if it's not, if it's something brand new, it's like, ooh, okay, this is intriguing. But that's one or two or maybe three things that are brand new thrown in there. This all was virtually brand new, and I think that's the nature of indies. I mean, even if you watch any of Nintendo's indie worlds or indie showcases or anything like that, you'll see a lot of people go like, oh, that wasn't as great, because it wasn't, the Marios and the Zeldas and stuff like that. And it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to let the indie developers get some spotlight. And I love indies. I've met a lot of indie developers from my years going to Play NYC. I'm friends with a lot of indie developers, and there's a charm to passion projects that you don't see with a lot of big AAA. And you could tell a lot of these are passion projects. One of guy even said, "This is the type of game I wanted. I felt it was missing. I made it. I hope you enjoy." And it's one of those things where there are a lot of intriguing games and games that I'd love to know more on. Some of them are not out anytime soon. Some of them will be out tomorrow or today. I do hope a lot of these do find their way to the Switch. I think a lot of them can find a good home there. I do think it's just easier for a small team to work with PC. You program on PC anyway. Maybe they're not approved by Nintendo yet. Therefore, they at least want to get their game out on Steam, see how they do, get some money, then bring that to Nintendo to get it on the Switch. So I would like to see some of them out on the Switch. I do think that it was great that Wholesome put this together. First off, this is a time of uncertainty for a lot of people. And while, yes, they definitely threw that Wholesome word out there, we need a little bit of a Wholesome right now. The world is a pretty ugly place. So it's great to do this and great to have this and let the community see some new games. And, there's no E3. A lot of these studios, they would rely on the trade shows to let people get hands-on. They would rely on the Play NYCs. They would rely on the PAX. They would rely on E3. They would rely on a lot of these bigger shows to bring in people, get that hands-on. They don't have that. Mm-hmm. That is a huge loss for them this year. So to see Wholesome stand up and say, we're going to do this and at least give you a platform, I think is great, and they need to be commended. And they already said at the end that there's going to be another one next year. So I do hope next year's is a little bit more refined and a little bit less boring. But you know what? It's their first year. Everyone's first. You can't expect, it to be the best show ever. But they're delivering something where other people aren't, including Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Nintendo probably is not going to have a June Direct. The last one we had was a mini, and the last one before that was in September. So I applaud any type of way to let developers have a platform. So yeah, what I recommended, if you look through that list and you said, oh, that looks exciting, definitely give them some love. Give them a chance. In the video, it showed their Twitters. Follow them on Twitter. Let them know, because when you're a small developer, if you sell 50 copies, you're ecstatic. If 50 people like you, oh my God, you feel like on top of the world. Yeah. So be nice. One of the games is kind words. Be nice. Show some love. Show some. Hey, I saw your game. It looks great. I'm sure it's going to go a long way for them.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like the only game, like I said, that was mentioned specifically for Switch was the very last one. It's a game called Ha, I think, or Hoa. I'm not sure how you pronounce that exactly. I initially thought it was just HOA, so I thought it was like a homeowners association simulator or something like that, but it definitely was not the case. But yeah, it's a platforming adventure game, hand-painted art, looked really pretty, and so I'm excited about that one game coming out. Greg, did you get to check out Ha, I guess is how we're going to go with that for now, and what did you think about that one?
That one was one of the ones I was really interested in. I really do like the action adventure type games, so that's almost like a Legend of Zelda, like Hollow Knight type of game, where it's just a lot of cool platforming and beating enemies and exploring really cool worlds. Even if it is just like 2D, that's completely fine with me. I really like those kind of side scrollers. So Yeah, that one was definitely one that caught my eye, and hopefully it will come out before we know it. There was a second game I think was already confirmed for Switch, though. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if you had caught it. It was that Spirit Fair game.
Mm.
They have like a special like teaser, I think, and that one was also mentioned to be coming to consoles shortly after its Steam launch. So
Okay.
I
Cool.
thought Skatebird wasn't that also shown off at an indie direct?
It was,
Or was
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. Skatebird was too, and yeah. So I think those are the only ones that actually. I don't know if I ever actually caught it, if I'm talking about it, but yeah, I think that it would have been cool to see, and maybe they just don't have those deals with Nintendo
Yeah.
yet, so they really couldn't share what they don't know. But yeah, I think a lot of these games are cool. I think, like you said, Barry. I mean, it's so cool to see a lot of these teams are just a couple people, maybe one person in their basement, just making a passion project, and I think that's awesome. That we can actually have those games, and to have a bunch of them that really are just a game that someone said, hey, I want to play this game, so I'm gonna make it, and let's see if other people want to enjoy it as well. I think that's awesome, and I've said many times that, and all of us have said that it's so cool that the indie scene has been growing on Nintendo systems, because that it allows more of us to have exposure to those great games that are just being made in basements and bedrooms, that we normally wouldn't have seen on N64 and GameCube and even Wii, but now we're getting those options, those opportunities to see some fantastic games. But Barry, you bring up an interesting point. Do you think that we will see more videos and events like this then from indies, since it seems like Nintendo's not, I mean, granted, we're in the middle of this coronavirus thing, so maybe we can just chalk it up to that, but it also seems like they haven't really been putting that much emphasis on the Nintendo Directs recently. They've kind of left it to the individual developers and publishers. Do you think that's the direction we're going now?
Not with Nintendo, no. I think the reason we haven't had Direct is because in Japan, it's very hard for them to work from home. These are, a lot of the Nintendo games are intricate games that requires a big team. It requires, people right there working together. And like Sakurai even stated, like one of the reasons the Smash DLC is delayed is because the developers are forced to work from home. Now, for some people, they are able to do that. Others, they're working in the same space that their wife is in or their husband's in, and it's really hard for them to concentrate. Their kids are running around because Japanese apartments are very small. And in some cases, there are developers that don't even have enough room in their apartment for the computers. Like they try to deliver, here's what you need, your workstation, and there's no room in their apartment. They can't work from home. So I think these are all factors that have been forcing delays. I think Nintendo wants to do directs. Absolutely, they look forward to E3 every year. They've made it a point to, even when Sony backed out of E3 2020, they made a statement saying E3 2020 is important to us. E3 is important to us. We're going to be there. So it really, to me, feels like this is just an effect of the coronavirus. But I do think that video presentations like this are going to continue. I mean, I don't know how quickly we're going to get back into the con scene. I know one of the cons I was looking forward to, a video game con here in Jersey, was just canceled for 2020, and 2021 has been announced instead. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if I get a message from Dan saying, hey, Play NYC 2020 is canceled. Instead, we're going to do a play crafting video presentation for all the games that we would have shown off. That wouldn't surprise me either. It sucks, but this gets the information right to people. Lets more people at least see this. I don't think anybody who's watching E3 coverage is going to be like, oh, I want to see Melon Journey 2. They won't even know what that is. But if you look at that looks like a really cool Game Boy style game, and that would fit perfectly in the 1990s Nintendo era. Cool. Let me see more. So it's a double-edged sword. but I do think that Nintendo wants to do more, and I think it's great that other publishers and other developers are kind of picking up the slack, because they know they're hungry too. You have to remember, a lot of these developers, like, they're small teams. They look to Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. They absolutely do. I guarantee you, when a Nintendo Direct is announced, they're just as excited as we are. Maybe not everyone, but the majority of them are like, oh, let's see what they're doing, because it's all about inspiration. And they're gamers at heart. I'm fairly certain that every game you saw on the Wholesome Direct, the developers there, every developer at least played a Nintendo game growing up, or had a Nintendo be part of their childhood, and it inspired them. So I'm fairly certain they're still fans. I'm sure their dream is to be on the Switch for the games that aren't there yet, and I'm sure they're hoping that Nintendo sees this and reaches out and says, we want you to be an indie or part of our indie showcase or whatever. When I was talking with the Swim Sanity's developers, and I said, hey, you guys, you were right there on that indie showcase. That's where most people found your game. What was the response to it? Like, how was the reaction? Unbelievable, they said. It was absolutely unbelievable, the amount of attention that got. So I think they're all aspiring to do that, and I hope it happens for them.
Yeah. It seems like it'd be very similar to, someone that is able to, I don't know, be a professional singer, and they get a really good following on YouTube, for instance, but then all of a sudden they have a big break, let's say, and they're able to be featured on Jimmy Fallon or something. That, they have a really good following and have had people like viewing their stuff and following them, but all of a sudden just that potential audience just grows exponentially at that point. And I think that's what Nintendo Directs really do for them. Greg, do you agree? Do you think we're going to see the return of the Nintendo Direct eventually?
Yeah, I think we will. It's probably just a matter of time until like Japan's able to get kind of more back to a normal state, and people are back to working in the office, and they're able to start doing like these recorded videos again. They might even be able to do another like Ninja showcase too, to like kind of might piggyback off of the Wholesome Direct and be like, oh, these are also coming to the Nintendo Switch as a timed exclusive or something like that too. So that's also another avenue they could take. I mean, just because it's showed off in the Wholesome Direct doesn't necessarily mean it's not coming to Switch or PlayStation 4 either. So
right.
And I guarantee you, someone at Nintendo was watching. Guarantee you, somebody was there and watching that and writing down those names and those Twitters and anything that they looked at and said this would be great for the Switch. I'm sure they were reaching out.
Yeah, I think so. So kind of in similar news, on June 23rd, we're going to have a little event's going to be online called the New Game Plus Expo, which honestly throws me off every time I see it because it just looks like the New Game Expo. But it's a New Game Plus Expo on, like I said, June 23rd, 2020, starting at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and you can watch it all live. And we're going to have a bunch of different publishers there. You guys can see them on the screen right now. I'm just scrolling on the New Games Plus website. A bunch of them up there. Nintendo is missing as of now, but hey, you never know. We still got some time. I'm sure this is, as far as I know, this is the first time they're doing this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that correct? This is the first time they're doing this.
Yeah, this is like an E3 substitute almost.
Cool. So yeah, they're still, I'm sure, lining up a bunch of different stuff. I'm sure they didn't plan on doing this. They were probably kind of like, hey, so what can we do instead of this? And so I'm sure they're probably still reaching out to Nintendo, trying to convince them that they're, and same with a bunch of other game publishers as well. Barry, what do you think of this? Are you excited about it? Is this something that you can get behind?
I'm excited, mainly because there's no E3, so you know that a lot of these developers, they have stuff for E3. They always plan for big surprises come June, and they're probably like, oh crap, I guess I'm just going to drop it like Paper Mario. But instead, they're maybe holding off. So hopefully we see some really cool stuff from these developers exclusively. So I definitely plan to be watching that day. Will I watch the whole day? It really depends on how the presentation is. I'm a big fan of the Treehouse. I love the way they did the Treehouse at E3. Tune in and out from different parts, but at least it showed off games. And I always love the press conferences whenever that happens at E3. I look forward to it. So I'm happy this is happening. I think if E3 was happening right now, I think this would be competition. I don't think this would split the announcements. I don't think it would be as good. But for this year, provided there's no E3 next year, or there is an E3 next year, I think this is a great substitute. I know Jeff Keighley's doing the Summer of Games. That's kind of broken off, though. It's kind of hard to get super excited about something that, it's periodic. It's not something you could set your calendar to. And this is something, it's one day you could set your calendar to it. Just pretty much a day of announcements, I'm assuming, maybe some gameplay. I really don't know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Basically, just says it features a diverse assortment of dozens of titles spanning every genre, and you get to look into what's next from all these publishers. That's about it. Greg, do you think this is going to be a sufficient substitute for E3?
I think it's about as best as you're going to be able to get it. Unfortunately, we don't know if Nintendo will be there or not, but it's great that other publishers are coming together to take some time to make some announcements, show their games, and we can kind of see how they're playing. Just like the Wholesome being a direct, I also saw that they went to the Nintendo naming convention of using new and plus. And
Hey, you do what you can, I guess. Yeah. If it works, it works. I don't know why it works, but apparently it works.
Hey, you know what's funny? I just looked at it, 6/23. Not our next podcast, but the one after that is the same day. So we had the Wholesome Direct today, the day of this podcast, and then 2 podcasts from now will be NG Plus Games.
You know what number episode that is?
Is that number 100
200.
Too, right? 200, I mean. Yeah, wow. So look at that. Well, we know what our topic's going to be.
That's true. Hopefully a lot of games we get to talk about that day. Hopefully. Let's see. Let's go to the chat. You guys talking about that a little bit. Jakester says that he hopes Atlas shows SMT 5, but I'm not going to. But anyhow, I'm not really sure what that means. He's not going to show it off. But he's also hoping for King of Fighters 15 to be announced. So we'll see. Yeah, it's interesting to. I don't know what we're going to see. But yeah, I think one of the cool things is that I think with this void, we're seeing a lot of different, publishers pop up. We're seeing a lot of events like this pop up online, and it could continue to change the atmosphere there for how gaming events and stuff are done. I think we've talked about that, several episodes ago when all this started. Back when Gamescom and everything else, we were speculating about E3, all these different things. It's like, okay, how is this actually going to affect the gaming industry, especially these events moving forward? So definitely interesting times for sure. But one thing that has not been delayed, that's not been pushed back, anything like that, is Lego Super Mario. We just keep getting more and more information about Lego Super Mario, and now we have information about the Super Mario power-up packs. They're going to be available. So not only can you build all these worlds and all these different things with the expansion sets and everything else, you can actually change Mario's traditional suit for the fire suit, the propeller suit, the cat suit, or the builder suit. So all of these different suits that are going to be available for you to wear. So all of them have different abilities. So you can, with the Fire Mario, you can shoot fireballs. Of course, Propeller Mario allows you to collect coins when he flies in the air. So I guess you just lift him up and he collects coins. And then Cat Mario allows you to climb walls to get more coins. So there's some incentive. Of course, you could just climb a wall with a regular Mario, but you don't get coins. And then of course, Builder Mario allows you to ground pound the ground to, of course, collect more coins. So all about collecting different coins. With the different suits, 3 different suits. They're all coming out on August 1st. So it's still all set on August 1st. I'm interested to see, like we've been talking about this, it seems like every other episode there's another update and everything. Is this the update that finally convinces you to go after it? What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I really love the builder costume, as that's obviously directly inspired from Mario Maker, so that was definitely really cool. Still kind of on the fence if I'm going to be getting the Lego stuff to begin with, but that's certainly definitely something that'll be pushing me more to be more interested to try and get it, because it's just so adorable.
Nice. Barry, you adding this to your collection?
I made the decision to not get this set simply because I would want to build them, and they take up a lot of room. Room is something I don't have. My Labo sets are still in box for that very reason, not because I don't want to give them a try. I just know that they're going to take up more room. I showed this to my wife. She looked at me, looked back at it, and was just like, no. I'm like, yeah, it's physical DLC. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And it's cute, and it's novel, and of course it's blind bag, so, and it's gonna be expensive because it's Lego, and it's like, I could get these and have them sit and collect dust, or I could buy something I'm gonna enjoy, and save that set and let a kid get it. Now, if we had kids, that would be different. But I can totally see Builder Mario being broken very quickly as kids slam him down. I don't know whose idea that was, but let's take this toy and just slam it down. That's going to break.
A Propeller Mario is going to be flying across the room. So.
Oh, yeah. Look, Mommy, he flies. Ooh, then right into the TV.
How many coins can I collect if I just send him launched across the yard?
Get a slingshot.
Yeah.
To be fair, they are Legos. Legos are not like something like you super glue together. Like, it's meant to be taken apart and put it back together.
Yeah, but these are electronic too.
I mean, that's why you have Builder Mario. He's got to reconstruct your Legos after you're done breaking everything.
Yeah, let us know what you're thinking about in the chat, the comments later. Are you going to be buying Lego Super Mario? Jakester says he's still not going to get it. I'm still saying that the thing that would convince me is actually a different set altogether. I want to build Peach's Castle. I want to build Bowser's Castle. I want that kind of set that
now
you
that
actually
would be
build
different.
Stuff. Yeah.
That would be different. If they did like a Lego Zelda with Hyrule Castle, that I would be purchasing, and that I would be building and displaying.
Yes.
But yeah, this is just one of those where I'm gonna have to do a pass. I'm happy for the kids that are going to enjoy this. If I was a kid, I would be asking for this probably. If I had kids, I'd be getting it for them. But for me, it's a pass.
Yeah. Moving on to a slightly different topic. Very different topic. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has an online tournament coming up soon. Greg, you want to give us some details about what's going on with this tournament?
Sure. So Nintendo tweeted out on Twitter. Obviously, that's where you tweet. That there'll be a new Smash Brothers Ultimate tournament. That's for open. Anyone can register and join. Like, they have provided like a link. It's like battlefly.com/Super Smash Bros 2020, and you can find out the details there. There's like different regions, and they're having the playoff days over the weekends. And so it kicks off on May 30th with Regions 7 and 8, beginning at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and pretty much you just kind of play all throughout the day, and then like I guess you get points for the number of wins and everything like that against the people that you play against. So they'll be taking like the top few people from each region to have like a more of like a structured like tournament size, where like a ladder like tournament then. So
nice.
That's pretty much it from that point. I don't know if you guys are still playing Smash Brothers or would be signing up for it at all, or even bothered to see what region you'd be in.
Nope.
I'm still playing occasionally, but I'm not tournament worthy. Like, I don't need to go onto the terrible internet and get my butt kicked. It's just one of those things where I play way more casually. So
yeah. I have to keep my perfect record of 0 matches lost going. So
nice.
I don't want to participate in a tournament and risk embarrassing some people like Zero and
right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
I played in
I'm
a
sure
few.
they're shaking in their boots.
I'm sure they are. They are like, oh, they're listening tonight, and they're like, oh, I'm so glad Greg's not participating in this one.
Yeah, the prizes are pretty cool. You get you can win a code for this Fighters Pass Volume 2, and also a code for Splatoon 2, along with ARMS. So that is kind of neat to get some free games there. So
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I've only competed in a couple Smash Brothers tournaments. Only one that was actually sanctioned or whatever by Nintendo, and that was actually in right before the Wii game came out with Brawl, and we actually had to play it early and everything. I made it into round 2. And then I lost. So, but yeah, the professionals are not professionals, but some of them are. But those guys are just amazing. I'm interested. I mean, that's all they can do right now is play online. But Greg, do you think the online their servers can handle this? I mean,
most likely not. Especially without anyone really working there to maintain them.
Right.
See, Greg, you say that, but you've never even played it online. So you don't know how bad it is.
Oh, I've experienced Animal Crossing online to know.
It's not bad. Animal Crossing works online.
Yeah, it's a whole lot better. Yeah, I've only played.
I've heard all this.
Yeah,
there's lots of horror stories about people complaining about the lag and everything. I've read that it's probably almost a new post each day. Somebody's complaining about lag.
Yeah, it's okay for the most part. 1-on-1, it's decent, and I think doing a tournament like that is going to be okay. But if they were going to say 1-on-1 on 1-on-1, like 4-player tournament, whoo. It'd be the best one who can overcome the lag. That's about it. Yeah, so that's that. But then let's move on to a different story. A little story that involves a little game that I think Barry might have heard of. Maybe. Xenoblade Chronicles. You've heard of that game, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitive Edition's coming out on May 29th. And it's supposed to, bring all the classic gameplay from the Wii version and the updates from the 3DS and even more and all this stuff. But we got a problem. We got a problem, Barry.
Kinda, yes.
Yeah. Something's going on with this handheld version.
Well, I mean, look, anytime you take a AAA game and you put it to handheld, it's not going to run as smoothly as docked. I mean, they've proven this already. And, the people who are surprised by this are people who didn't play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looks terrible when you play it handheld. Does it
still? Because I know they updated it.
I have not tried it since the beginning.
Okay.
So I don't know. They could have updated it. But when the game launched, it looked terrible and ran very poorly when you had it handheld. When you docked, gorgeous. So it's gonna be the same kind of deal here, and to me that goes with saying. I mean, you're gonna have lesser frame rate. You're gonna have weaker graphics. Apparently, when it's docked, it's gonna run between 504p and 720p. Handheld is going to be between 378 and 540. So naturally, the resolution is significantly worse when in handheld. The game runs at 50, FPS, and that's cool. Some people prefer 60. To me, I'm not one of those people that can really see the difference as long as it's steady.
Yeah.
When it's dipping, then I notice. The game is big and beautiful, and I mean, the Wii game already was huge. They're adding to it. They redid all the graphics. You can't expect a AAA console game to run 100% perfectly or look 100% perfectly on the handheld. No, you can't. And I mean, the 3DS was the same thing. If you played the game on the 3DS or the new 3DS because you had to, it was the worst version of that game. So, to me, this is really a given. This is like water is wet. You should expect this. These games are not, cutesy Mario platformers. These games are big, detailed worlds. And even if you look at Breath of the Wild, that game's beautiful. And it runs really well handheld. But you compare Breath of the Wild's Hyrule Field to, like, Gormont from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's night and day difference. Hyrule Field has enemies, but they're in, like, small little groups. Xenoblade has monsters just roaming, all different levels, different sizes, birds flying through, water effects. Like, it's so alive. And this. You've played Torna to a point. You know how alive the world is.
I do.
And
Torna looked good on handheld, though.
Torna was also a smaller scale. Even when you went to the Titans, they are smaller. Like, they had spots blocked off that were there in Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Okay.
So they made it smaller.
Okay. So it's interesting to me, though, because it seems from the even the graphics that I've seen and the images and stuff, it seems like they rebuilt this game from the ground up almost.
Mm-hmm.
So
they did. No,
so why is it still having those issues? Is what I want to know. Because they built Torna from the ground up, like why not make it so it would run optimized on the Switch and get
my guess. Because they just wanted it to be as pretty as possible, and they made it run on a high-end PC and said, "Oh crap, we gotta tone it down now for the Switch."
Fair enough. So Game Explain did a comparison video. I got an image from them up here. You can actually see on the left is the undocked, the right is the docked version. So if you haven't seen that yet, here's a quick image. But I would encourage you guys to go check out their videos to watch more and find out more about what the comparison really is. Greg, do you think this is a big deal, or is this just one of those things that just happens with a game like this?
It almost seems like it does didn't like Breath of the Wild kind of like have some issues too, like it kind of might have had a drop, and obviously like the battery life was like really awful like in handheld mode. And I know that's a very expansive game similar to Xenoblade, so I know like Xenoblade obviously has a lot more stuff on screen, like Barry was just saying, the big monsters and battles and stuff that is going on in the distance in addition to the normal elements, like you were saying, like the birds and trees kind of like blowing in the wind and flying around. So to me it kind of seems it's not as surprising, because usually I guess when you're playing handheld you kind of expect like the battery is going to be taking a toll, because it's like a massive game trying to handle, and also the Switch screen is not exactly 1080p either, like most people's television sets. So I can kind of understand like it. I know it's not even hitting like the 720, which is like the main limit. Like Jigster and I were kind of talking a little bit in Discord a little bit about that, and I don't know, as long as it's not like noticeably dropping and just kind of like playing like fizzing around where it affects like your movements and battle sequence, then it's almost kind of like as expected to me that handheld just kind of has to suffer for such a massive project like this.
Yeah. Jakester says that he thinks it'd be patched in the first month, and he won't care. He'll be playing in docked the whole time. I think since they did patch Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it seems like a patch is probably going to be on the way for 1 as well. Barry, as someone that's played it, would you recommend like playing on the go at all anyway, or is this a game that really needs to be played on a TV?
If that's the only way you can play it, then absolutely yes, hands down still. Because this is just one of those masterpiece games that should be experienced by everybody. And I do know for you two who didn't play the first one, and I know Greg wasn't really a fan of the battle system for what little he played, they're actually adding a casual mode. They're adding a lower difficulty for you to enjoy the story. Perfect for you too. And I'll be honest, I'm going to be playing it on casual mode too. I already beat it once. It's more like a refresher for me, so that I can do the extra content with a fresh mind. But perfect for you guys to jump in there and experience this game, because I think you really need to.
If it like removes the battle system and makes it like a normal turn-based battle system, that would be perfect. Like,
no.
I get a turn, I get to attack you, and then you get to take a hit.
That takes away the
you get to
entire
attack
game.
me, and then that's
That's like playing a Mario game where you can't jump or move to the right.
I enjoyed the new battle system though that is in Torna and those. Comparing the original one with that one, I think it's head and shoulders over the old one for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So do we know, did they update the battle system for Definitive Edition, or is it still the same?
I think it's the same.
Okay.
I agree with you. I like Xenoblade Chronicles 1's battle system. I like 2's better, and I like Torna's even better. Although I will say, like, 2's, it starts off really slow. And it's like one of those things where it's like you're playing, it's like, oh, it auto attacks. So all I have to do is hit skills, and I have to wait for it to fill up. And oh, this is kind of boring. And you're absolutely right. But it gets to the point where you start chaining skills and switching out your blades, and you don't have those downtimes. You're constantly doing things by the end, and you start with all your skills instantly up, and it goes so quickly. So it's a slow burn.
Nice.
And I think as Xenoblade, from what I remember the first one, it's like that too. Like you start off with just like 1 or 2 skills, and it's like, oh, this is kind of boring, and then you start doing the chain skills, and you know it just gets more involved as it goes on. They don't throw you into the fire; they build you up to it.
Gotcha.
This is probably also why I got turned away from Dragalia Lost, 'cause it's kind of like that same kind of combat system. Obviously, that one's super simplified and only very minimal buttons, but I think that's why I was turned away from Xenoblade, because I don't really like these group tactics in real time type combats. Like I'm really used to the retro Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest battle system where, like I was saying, you take a turn, the enemies get a turn. You take a turn, and that's much simpler for me. Even like Fire Emblem, the battles are like that too. So
that's interesting. Yeah,
I still think you should try it in casual mode.
I've actually switched over because I was a big fan of that. But when it's done well, I feel like it's so much more modern. I like the active. It's like it's a combination between turn based and not, and it's fun. It feels like I'm actually more in control of what's going on, and it feels. Even though it's clearly a fantasy world, it feels more realistic than, normally you get into battle, you're like, okay, you go, pick your best move. All right, now it's my turn. Here you go. Like, it's a little more realistic when you're fighting at the same time.
Did away with that in, like, Final Fantasy when 4 came out with the ATB system. That was the whole point of it. It was, hey, enemies can still go if you're sitting there thinking about what you want to do.
Right. Way too long.
So, I mean, you look at Zelda games. Zelda games are action-adventure. Yep. There's no turn-based. And games, games like Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana are very much the same. They just involve parties.
Yeah, if Breath of the Wild got more complex, it might have actually turned me away from the game. So I was thankful that it was kind of simplified and it was just a single character interacting. Because I'll be the first to tell you that I beat the game without using the Fury Rush and like the Shield Reflect and stuff. And some stuff was really hard. That's why I never ended up fighting like the Lionels, just because it was more like that long-term like battle where you're just like constantly scrolling through items and changing around and moving all over the place. That was way too extreme for me. I just prefer just like, oh, there's just like a bokoblin, bam, 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 you're down.
Nice.
Nothing wrong with that, but still give Xenoblade a try. That's the whole point of the casual mode. There you go.
That's true.
The big bosses are what scares me away.
Yeah. See, Jakester says like he wants me to stream Xenoblade in casual mode. It's the difficulty is not what keeps me away. Like, and honestly, I would play Xenoblade except for I still had to finish Torna, and I still have Xenoblade Chronicles X that I still have so much to go back on. Like adding another game that's going to be having to sink that many hours in. It has nothing to do with the difficulty. I could get to understand the battle system and everything like that, but yeah, it has to do with the fact that I have 2 other Xenoblade games that I have not finished yet. That's why I'm not jumping on it just yet. But anyway, let's move on. So a couple quick things here at the end as we kind of turn the page to wrapping up soon. The NES and SNES online service has been updated yet again. I think the last time we got an update was back in January, I believe. Maybe February. I think February. We got 3 new SNES games, 1 new NES game. We got on SNES, we got Wild Guns, Panel de Pon, and Operation Logic Bomb. And on NES, we got Rygar. What do you guys think about this update? In general, any games that you're excited to play? I think they just launched on the 20th, so just a few days ago is when they came out. What do you think, Greg? Oh, Greg
disappeared.
Sorry, my daughter's like screaming through the walls.
Oh, that's okay.
I was just trying to pay attention to what they were saying.
So what do you think?
Yeah, not my first picks for those games, but obviously more is better than less. So
yeah. Barry, what do you think?
I mean, there are odd choices of games, especially Wild Guns, which is a very expensive Super Nintendo game. So it's great to see, people, the ability for people to play it without spending hundreds of dollars in the cart. But there's also the remastered re-release of the game on the Switch. So
right.
It's kind of interesting that, okay, you can play the lesser version now versus the remaster. I think they're solid choices, but again, they're missing that big hook. These games are perfect to include as long as you have one big draw-in title.
Yeah.
Panel de Pon is probably the most exciting there. For those in America that maybe don't recognize that name, it's Tetris Attack or Pokemon Puzzle Challenge or Puzzle League that was released. Here they changed the name. It's a fantastic puzzle game. I believe that's also where Lipstick comes from Smash Brothers.
Yes,
the item, and it's just an awesome game. So I'm happy to see that there, and they probably couldn't do Tetris Attack because of the Tetris license, even though it had Yoshi and all that, there's still the Tetris name. So this is their way of getting around that by releasing the original version of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're good games. They're not going to drive people to sign up. I think they're sorely lacking a hook game, and it makes me wonder why is there no hook game? And you could say, well, licensing is hard, but all of these are licensed games with the exception of Panel de Pon, which is Nintendo. What the heck? Where are the DKC games? And like, I understand, like, some people go, where's the Mega Man games, and where's the Street Fighter games? And you're not going to see those. There's a Mega Man collection already. There's a Street Fighter collection already. Like, anytime there's already a collection of games on the system, they're not going to do that to compete. So it makes sense, but there's still other Nintendo titles that they have not brought. I know Jakester is dying for Earthbound. I'm only hoping they're not doing Earthbound because there's a Mother collection coming, which is acceptable why Earthbound is not there. But still, it feels like they added Super Nintendo, and now we're getting less games, less often, and they're not like, oh my god, these are the games we want to see.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like a priority for them anymore, which makes me wonder if we're actually ever going to see N64 games on there at all, or if they're just going to like let this peter out. And I don't know. It's unfortunate. I'm excited for Rygar. I'm one of the few people that I've heard that's excited about that game. It's a game that I played a lot with a couple of friends when I was younger, and it'd be great to experience that game again. I have it as a cartridge, but again, I have to hook up my NES and all that stuff. But it'd be cool to like fire up and play through a little bit. But yeah, it'd be great to see some of those other games on there as well. Not a bad selection, but I'd like to see them come out a lot more often and a lot bigger games. Again, like you said, Jakester says no Earthbound, so he's still boycotting the NES Online apparently. So
did you play the Wii game, the Rygar Wii game?
No, I didn't. I heard really bad things about it, so I
maybe
avoided
you should
it.
Play that one time for stream.
Yeah, I'll have to find it first. It's probably not very difficult to find. It's probably pretty cheap. So last quick thing that I want to mention before we kind of turn the page and look forward to the next couple weeks is that the Super Nintendo World that we're all really excited about eventually coming out. The theme park that's going to hit the Universal Studios. A guy on Twitter by the username at WRXVABC. I have no idea what that stands for, but he took some photos of the construction of Super Nintendo World over in Japan, and even though everything's shut down, they've still been able to work on the park, and it seems like there's a lot of really cool stuff on there. I'm not going to click into those because they are there, and also I don't want to alienate all of our audio only listeners, but they're on Twitter, and I've got that pulled up. You can just go to that guy's Twitter and see a whole lot more detailed on those images. But you're able to see a lot of really cool stuff that just, it looks so surreal from all the images that we've seen of what it's supposed to look like, and to see it actually in person in a way is so cool. Did you guys get a chance to check out these photos, and what do you think if you did? Greg, did you get to?
No, I didn't even realize it. But that is really cool that they're out there. I might want to take a look at it.
Yeah. Barry, did you get a chance?
Doesn't really surprise me they're still working on them, because I'm betting like Disney is in the same kind of boat, still working on their projects and stuff inside the parks, even though like they're not really open to the public. So
yeah. Barry, did you get a chance to see them?
No. What is it? WRX and ABC?
WRXVABC.
Oh, V.
Yeah. So
yeah, I want to take a look at those.
The photos are from far away, but you can see Peach's castle, you can see Bowser's castle, you can see the one where it looked like a just taken out of Super Mario World or 3D World or something like that. You can see the Goombas on there, and the clouds that are supposed to be moving around and everything. It's so cool to see Mario World is just like in real life. So yeah, we have nothing on the United States, Super Nintendo World yet, but I am so pumped after seeing this because it's becoming that much more of a reality.
Yeah, the little Bowser's Castle is so cute. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is that roller coaster that's there? That's not part of it, right?
No, that's a part of another thing. So you can actually see the Wizarding World of Harry Potter is kind of like off to the right as well.
Oh yeah.
So you can kind of see the castle there and stuff like that. So hoping that once you're in there, I think they've built it up enough around the edges where you don't really see the rest of Universal Studios while you're there, hopefully. But it is pretty cool to see. It's coming along. I really hope someone's able to like fly a drone over there and get us some really high quality footage. So if you're over there in Japan, any listeners or viewers, we would love that. Send it to us. I have no money to give you, but I will give you lots of props and shout outs on our podcast. So cool. Jake's are saying, can we post it in the Discord? Of course I can post it in the Discord. I'll post it in the chat right now too. You guys, I think that should pop up as well. And then I'll post it in the disc. We can post it in the Discord later. So yeah, check that out. Give that guy WRXVABC on Twitter some love. Like his tweet, share it out, and everything. That's awesome that he got that there. All right, so before we jump into the next couple weeks, what we're looking forward to, we just want to take a moment just to thank you guys for tuning in again. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting that bell. Thanks for sharing this with other people. Again, thanks for joining in the chat room live. We love hearing what you guys think about all the news that we talk about. So thanks for joining in the discussion tonight. As Jakester is asking, post in the Discord. That's where we want to go for conversations between the shows. So if you haven't joined our Discord, make sure you check that out in our the information down below the video, our show notes on the podcast. Just head to NintendoFuse.com. You'll see the link there. We would love to have you guys join in all that. All right, so there's been a trend the last few episodes that we've been like, hey, there's not much coming out in the next couple weeks. So are you guys gonna be playing anything at all? Maybe you're going back to your backlog. Next couple weeks is not the case. There's some big games coming out. So I'm going to scroll through here. You guys can see them as well, but I figured I'd just mention a few of them. Minecraft Dungeons came out today. Shantae and the Seven Sirens comes out on May 29th. May 28th. May 29th is a big day because BioShock Collection, XCOM 2 Collection, Borderlands Legendary Collection, all come out on May 29th, along with the Borderlands and BioShock individual games. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Works Edition comes out also on May 29th. Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus comes out sometime in May, so we're assuming it's the next couple weeks. The Outer Worlds comes out on June 5th, and a game that I am particularly excited about, Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, also comes out on June 5th. What are you guys excited about? Any of those or anything that I overlooked? Barry, what are you excited about over the next couple weeks?
Wow. Really? Xenoblade Chronicles, Clubhouse Games. I mean, those are two really, really big ones that I'm really excited for. Shantae and the Seven Sirens looks great. I still have yet to play the Shantae games. I have them. I know it's going to be good. I have high confidence in that, so I'm happy for those fans. The 2K games are all older games, and there are some great games in there. BioShock and Borderlands and stuff. I'm really sour about their physical releases, though, and 2K is getting a lot of slack for it, as they should be, because they're very, very cheap. So, yeah, in the Outer Worlds, I've heard good things about that. I probably won't delve into that. I'll definitely still be playing Xenoblade. But I'm glad to see that finally hitting the Switch.
Nice. Greg, what are you excited about over the next couple weeks?
Probably just the Clubhouse games for the most part. I've been trying to find more on like the BioShock games and Borderlands, and I don't know if those are the kinds of games that I would really enjoy. So I'm still kind of like looking into them. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing that I normally might actually like it or not, but it's really great to still see all these games finally starting to come out. I think we had actually heard about these in the last Nintendo Direct or something, right? So it's good to know that these games are finally hitting the store shelves now. So,
yeah, for sure. Again, Clubhouse Games, was a huge fan of that game on DS. Played it a ton, and so really excited about that one come out. And excited that they did the companion app. So like if you have a friend that you want to play locally that doesn't have it, you can still do the the download play. That was really cool from the DS game. So it's kind of it's cool that they brought that over, even though the Switch doesn't have it natively. They were able to bring that over, so that's really cool. And yeah, the other games, I haven't played those 2K games, and it's definitely something that I've thought about numerous times, but again, turning into Barry, no time. But yeah, it's they may be something that I eventually jump to. The cool thing is they've been out for years and years, and I haven't missed anything. So eventually, if I get to one of those times where I've beaten all the Xenoblade games, and I can honestly say I don't have much to play right now, they're games that I can always go back to and play at some point. And who knows, they'll be maybe dirt cheap at that point too. But yeah, Shantae is always fun. I don't know if I'm going to get this one, but the games that I have played are really fun. But yeah, I definitely, of the next couple weeks, Clubhouse Games is the one that I'm going to be jumping on for sure.
I think the fact that neither of you said Xenoblade Chronicles just guts me.
Did you really expect us to, though?
I think you need to.
Were you not paying attention? We talked exclusively about Xenoblade.
I think you need to. I'm at this close to buying it for you guys and making you play it.
Nice. Let's go to the chat real quick. Dave97 says Clubhouse Games looks really promising. Roth is a big fan of Clubhouse Games as well. And then Jakester says that he can still work on old 3DS games. He's almost done with Link Between Worlds. One of my favorites, Jake. One of my favorites. Link Between Worlds is fantastic. So.
Yep. I definitely echo that. That's one of the best games. That was our game of the year that year. So.
So good. So good. All right. So anything else that you guys are looking forward to over the next couple of weeks? Maybe going back or finishing something you have been working on? Any big stuff that you're looking forward to?
Still rehabbing the island on Animal Crossing. So like we're finally like getting knee deep in like customizations and making our own design patterns now. So there's still much more going on our island, and that's probably be the main focus of the next 2 weeks. Hopefully, I can try to squeeze some time in for some other games.
Nice. Barry, anything standing out to you?
Yeah, I gotta finish Trials of Mana. Fantastic remake, and always Animal Crossing. Still more to do. I'll probably be getting kicked off of Xenoblade. Just, you gotta come get this DIY quickly. Come on, just go. Or I need the one you had. I want to trade. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
And like I said, going back to more Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and I still gotta find an under $1 game. So I'm sure I'll be doing that.
Bouncy Bob.
No, you've already talked about that. Fine, you know what? I'll do Bouncy Bob if you do Xenoblade.
Under $1, $60.
Crap game and game of its generation. So
takes 5 minutes to realize what I think about it. Takes a lot longer.
Yeah, but terrible and a lot of fun. So
that's true. Good point. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to spending more time in Animal Crossing. I might have some time over the next couple weeks. I'm not going to promise anything, but this might be the next couple weeks. I might actually boot up Torna. We'll see. And maybe surprise you by the next podcast. We'll see. And maybe I'll make Jakester really happy, and I might stream the end of it. Who knows?
Oh my god.
But yeah, I forgot to mention this at the very beginning that I finally. I've taken Animal Crossing so casual and so slow and everything, but I finally went and had KK visited over the weekend, so that was cool. First time, and I got terraforming, so I was playing around with that a little bit earlier today.
Like that?
I wish I could do more, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, there's a few things, and maybe I can later, but
you have to go to the ATM,
right?
And you purchase more
and I've got the water thing, and I've gotten the tower or the cliff stuff,
yeah.
And I've gotten a bunch of different like pathways and stuff like that. But I want to be able to change my beach area.
Oh, you can't do that.
That's what I want to do. That's the couple things that I'm like, oh, it doesn't need to be wide there. I want it just there so I can fit another tree there or something like that. And that's what I want to be able to do.
Each area can't be done, unfortunately.
Yeah. But other than that, I think it would have also been better if it was easier. And this is weird because I like the free movement overall in the game, but when it comes to building things and terraforming and everything, I wish I could snap to the grid a little better. Because there's a lot of times that I'm like, oh, not there. Oh, shoot. Now I got to tear it down, try it again, or I can't get it exactly just right. So I wish there was a way to do that, or even like force the overhead camera a little more.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. Because it changes it sometimes when you're like in a certain area, but I want to force that overhead camera when I'm terraforming.
It's capable of doing it,
Totally.
So let's have us do it.
Yeah.
It's another Nintendo 1 step forward, 2 steps backwards.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's where I am with Animal Crossing. Yeah, just slowly going along. So I'll be playing that probably a whole lot the next couple weeks. Of course, Rocket League, but maybe I'll actually boot up Torna. No promises. We'll see. Maybe that'd be for like our special 200th episode. Maybe I'll actually be able to tell you that I finished Torna.
if you're just dragging that carrot on that stick, man, I'm gonna come out to Colorado and have some words, you and I.
Can you travel now?
I'll walk if I have to.
Walk from Jersey to Colorado.
I could drive. All right, we're allowed to drive.
That's true.
Maybe you can't fly, but I will drive.
You can stop by and see Greg on the way.
I'll pick him up and beat both of you down.
Yes. Road trip.
I'll make him play the new 3DS version on the way over.
Well, you already told him it was bad.
Doesn't matter.
Oh boy.
Why you just got the Wii and hook it up to like a TV in your car if you're gonna do that?
We'll accept that.
There you go. Well, thank you guys.
Victor wants to come with me.
He's going to come in? There you go. Done. Nintendo Fuse Tour. You heard it here first. Don't count on it, but it might happen. Probably not. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It's been great to talk games as usual. Thanks to everybody for joining in the chat. Just remember to subscribe, share this, hit the bell on YouTube, all those little things that just help us, and it helps us as a community. It's not just us three, but it also helps us as a community to kind of grow a little bigger and have more people that just enjoy Nintendo, enjoy video games to join in the conversations, and it's just more fun. So thank you guys for doing all those things. Be sure to tune in on June 9th. It's going to be our next episode. Unfortunately, it's a sad day, though, because that would normally be a time where we're in full-on E3 discussion, but not so much this year. But I'm sure we'll find some things to talk about, as we usually do. I mean, hey, there was a bunch of stuff to talk about this time, even without E3. Yeah. So I'm sure there'd be some things, but it's going to be a weird June for sure without E3. But June 9th, we'll be back again for episode 199. But until then, happy gaming, everybody.
See ya.
See you later.